He puts the Y in Friday. Why? Why the heck not? Sorry, Tills, I'm stealing your intro. Over to you, darling.
We might have to invent a new term for our next guest because National Treasure doesn't even begin to cover it. He's playing Lady Bracknell in The Importance of Being Earnest, which begins next Thursday in London. So for breakfast today, let's have a fry up with a stellar guy. It's Sir Stephen Fry!
Yes! Oh my gosh! How are you, Stephen?
I'm extremely well, Miss Trevens. Thank you,
You
very
look
much.
very, very, very well.
Well, I have been. I've been going to the gym and bicycling. I don't know what's possessed me. My younger self would be outraged.
I was going to say you've been giving it a bit, haven't you?
Yes, the awful thing is I enjoy it. I just have to confess.
Isn't it interesting how it all changes?
It really does.
You get your kicks from different things as you sort of travel further down the counter of life.
I guess. I mean, I don't know, but I guess it's the same hormones that refreshed and pleased you, the same, hedonic endorphins and things that made you think, oh, I'll have that cigarette, I'll have that drink, I'll have that late night, and they now say, go on, go to the gym, do some
and you go to bed
curls.
with the same relish as you went out on the town.
Yes.
That is the thing, isn't
Absolutely
it?
true.
I went to bed last night, I thought, this feels
It's
just the best
wonderful.
ever.
And you look at the diary and you see you haven't got an evening out. You can stay in.
It's the best thing in the world. Having said that, you're going to be out for quite a few nights to come, young man.
I'm trying to train myself now, of course, to go to bed later because as of Thursday, as you rightly said, we start with our preview performances of The Importance. And so I won't be going to bed till much before midnight.
I love the fact you've already abbreviated it to The Importance. The importance of being Stephen Fry. The importance of selling tickets, the importance of being on the radio, the importance of love us. Please love us. Ernestonstage.com is where you need to go for these tickets. The importance of being earnest. Where are you playing? Which theatre are we at?
The Noel Coward Theatre.
Oh, come on.
Yes, I know. Noel Coward and Oscar Wilde all in one big bouncing ball.
If you and Rupert Everett had to have an Oscar Wilde off, who would win?
Oh, my goodness, I would hate to feel competitive about it. I think we both respect each other and love each other for our love of Oscar. Rupert did a wonderful thing, or he combined with others to do a wonderful thing. It's a thing that almost brings me to tears, actually, when I think about it. When Oscar Wilde died in 1900, aged only 46, he was utterly exiled and utterly disgraced, and the world, apart from a very few people, hated him, and his name was mud. He'd gone to prison for having sex with people of his own gender, and 2 years hard labour, and he couldn't stay in Britain for a second. People knew what he looked like. He was one of the very first visible celebrities of any culture, really. And so he went to Paris and died, as I say, in misery. But a few years ago, with Merlin Holland and the Irish government and the French département responsible for his tomb in Père Lachaise Cemetery, raised some money to try and restore the limestone sarcophagus by Jacob Epstein, because it had corroded, and it had corroded because of the kisses. It had been pilgrims came to it and kissed it, and if he had known that when he was dying, thinking his name was forever in the ordure of, in the sewer of public opinion. It was the greatest scandal of his age. But if he had known that he now stands for something so, he's there on carry bags for bookshops. He's on posters on students' walls. He's a kind of student prince. He's the Prince of Bohemia of the artistic free life, and yes, an Irish icon and a gay icon, but more than that, a poetic and a spiritual icon for millions of people around the world. You see it in Japan, in Romania, in South America. Oscar Wilde is, after Shakespeare, one of the most visible English language writers, probably the most.
He's the Bohemian Che Guevara, really. If you
That's
think
it.
about it.
He is.
Same kind of silhouettes.
Yeah, when I was first getting sort of well known, and I'd be invited to universities and things to talk, and sometimes a group would say, come back to our rooms and chat with us. You'd sit and have a glass of wine with students. And at first, you'd see, much as in my day, the posters on the wall would be Karl Marx and Jimi Hendrix, because if the world was going to be set free, it would be set free by revolutionary politics and rock and roll.
Yeah.
But then over the years, the fall of the Berlin Wall and the commercialization totally of all that sort of music, if you like, maybe the death of Lennon and other such things. And I noticed that more and more I'd see posters of Einstein and Wilde. Because people were saying, no, the future is in the life of the mind. And the humanitarianism of Einstein and the what we've already said about Wilde. And I think that's a very encouraging and wonderful thought. But the other thing that amazes me is that in the 19th century, in Britain, Victorian reign, which until our own Queen was the longest reign in British history, hundreds of theatres were built in Britain. I mean, dozens and dozens, scores were built in London in the West End, more than had been built around the rest of Europe for 300 years earlier. It was the biggest art form, theatre, and yet there's only one masterpiece from that whole reign that is done again and again and again, and that's The Importance of Being Earnest. And it is a flawless and extraordinary comedy, absolutely perfect, symmetrical, beautiful, hilarious in plot, character, and language like you've never heard in your life.
Yeah, and if you didn't employ him for his acting, employ him for his selling. I mean, that was the best sell ever, wasn't it?
Well,
I mean,
it's true.
They bear that in mind, don't they? Who's going to go out and talk about this? How about Stephen Fry?
I didn't say this because I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I say
But he was a bit ropey in the last thing he did. Doesn't matter. God, can he sell a ticket? By the way, you weren't at all. EarnestOnStage.com. It has been described by some wag as a trivial play for serious people.
Yes, Wilde himself.
Would you agree with that? Oh, yes. Was that Oscar Wilde that said that?
He said it's a delicate bubble of fancy. It teaches us to treat the trivial things in life seriously and the serious things in life with a sincere and studied triviality.
See, that's great, isn't it? I mean, that's a good lesson.
Yeah.
And was it one of 4 plays that were in a particular genre?
Yes, 4. They're sometimes called these social comedies: An Ideal Husband, A Woman of No Importance, and Lady Windermere's Fan, or Lady Fandermere's Wind, as we like to call it. And they got better and better. They're very good, the other 3, but they have elements of melodrama and sentimentality that he is completely missing from The Importance, which is light as air, but the plotting is unbelievable.
In what way? Speak to that if you don't mind.
Well, there are 2 girls and 2 boys, and they both have a habit of doing what one of them, Algernon, played by wonderful Ollie Alexander, calls bunburying. He's invented a friend called Mr. Bunbury, whom he has to go and visit in the country. And it's his excuse to all the people, his aunt and all the people who control him, because he's a very young man and he doesn't have his own income, that I've got to see my friend Mr. Bunbury. And he goes to the country and he stays in people's country houses. There is no Mr. Bunbury. And he discovers that his friend Jack has invented a brother called Ernest, because Jack lives in the country and he wants excuses not to be a respectable man in the country, but to go up to town. So he invents this terrible brother Ernest who behaves badly. And Algernon then pretends to be Ernest, and the girls. I mean, it's a magnificent story, and there is a lost foundling element to it as well.
Lost foundling?
Who is Jack Worthing, in fact, because he's an orphan and doesn't know who his parents were, and the answer is astonishing, and it involves, as many people will know from the play, a handbag.
A handbag.
I thought you'd do
Not
that.
at dawn.
I can't tell you how many people. There's actually rather a good big emoji handbag, not a little elegant purse-like one, but a big emoji one. And when it was announced I was playing Lady Bracknell, I think I must have got 200
You were truly handbagged.
texts with
Not
that
quite to death,
handbag.
but
Yeah.
all right. With
And if you
like.
send the emoji on its own, it's quite big.
Yeah. Well, why is that? That is.
I like
sometimes,
that, though.
Well, sometimes I send 2 or 3 just so you don't get the big one because you don't know how to send the big one.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
fair
mean?
point,
What's
yes.
that about? All right, so today's the day because today is the last day in the rehearsal rooms,
Yes.
and then you move to the theatre. Now, you just saying that to me makes me excited and petrified on your behalf. Is that about right?
It is. It's like a first day at school. You arrive at a theatre. Some people may have played in that theatre before. I have, but so many years ago. There was green fields around it and sheep. So you go backstage, you meet the backstage people.
Yes.
The guy or girl who controls entrance and exit from the backstage, and then you're shown your dressing room and you kind of gulp, and there are photographs usually of people who've been in the dressing room before you, and you think, oh my lord, this I'm not worthy. And in Noel Coward Theatre, where we're playing in St Martin's Lane, there's the Noel Coward dressing room. The Gertrude Lawrence, Noel and Gertie were a famous pair in the 20s and 30s, And then you stand on the stage for the first time and you see the gods, as they call it, the very top row, and then the dress circle, and you see the gilt and the boxes and the plush but it's like a country house, because the backstage is like the servants' quarters. It's not very well painted. It's not so
dark.
It's dark.
Dingy, cold,
it's a little, exactly. But that's quite right. It's the public should have a feeling of being out and enjoying themselves, and you get used to the acoustic, and then you have what we call tech runs, which is when the lighting people have to focus their lights, and you have to go through every exit and every entrance and do it again and again and again and again, so every department knows what's happening and the props are there and that this is that, and of course I'm playing a formidable lady. I have an extraordinary pair of costumes, which are remarkable, and I have to practice moving in them, because what Victorians are like. They have the huge skirts, and they have what's called a bustle, which pushes out the posterior to make a really big bum, and so I I have a sort of turning circle like a battleship.
So you'll be Bootylicious, will you?
I hope I'll be Bootylicious.
Bootylicious and the Beast. What a laugh!
Yes,
and how many shows are you going to do?
We do 8 a week. We start the previews on Thursday, and then the actual press night, as it's called these days, the first night, is the 30th of September, and then we run till the 10th of January. So it's a Christmas show, really. It runs right through the autumn and Christmas.
But it's a good run, though, isn't it? So you're going to have to pace yourself. So you're on your bike this morning. You are getting fitter, which is great, and that helps you engage and enjoy more what you're doing.
And Christian,
and that's why you got into the business in the first place. And you're sort of it's a bit of you're paying it back and forward, aren't you?
Oh, yes. And also, Chris, I have a theory about comedy, which I bore people with, but it is whether it's on stage or on television, it's a tennis match.
Yeah.
And if you were watching a tennis match, no matter how extraordinarily athletic the movements, how wonderful the sweeps of the arm and the movement of the feet, if you can't see the ball, it's meaningless. And a play like The Importance of Being Earnest, the ball is so beautifully poised. And so we've all found that even though, I'm not giving anything away to say that it doesn't involve trapezes and sword fights. It's not athletic.
I'm not going to go then, are you?
It's not athletic.
No orchestra.
It's not athletic in that sense, but it is exhausting because of the concentration you need to be in that comic moment and with the ball at all times.
Well, you say a spectacle is not what it could be if you can't see the ball, yet you love cricket. Now, I was very fortunate. I went to the Monday's play of England-India at Lord's.
Oh, yes.
Which was an extraordinary day's cricket. But once again, I couldn't see the ball because I never can see the ball. So, and you're a member, aren't you? So
yes.
Just explain that one away, young Fry.
That's a very good point. Cricket is not tennis.
No, it's like charades, because you can't see depending on who's bowling,
yes.
You can't really see the ball.
That's an interesting point, yeah. I mean, you kind of can't.
No, you can't.
But you're in the same way that you, in certain sort of black and white line drawings, you can't see a connection between two objects.
Yeah.
But your brain fills it in and provides a line that isn't there. And because of the action of the bowler and the reaction of the batsman, which is you somehow read what's happened, and if the fielders go up in the air. But I agree. Thank goodness we live in an age of extraordinary LED with incredibly high nits, as they're called, candle watt, so that now even on a sunny day outdoors, you can see a replay on the screen.
I know, it does help. It's massively helpful, I've got to say. I know it's not how it should all be, but did you watch the golf last night by any chance?
I certainly did. You mean the Wentworth? Yes, because there was a PGA as well after that.
Yeah. Did you see the way that when Rory and John Ram and Shane Lowry were putting out, they were having to use the light from the big screen because it was so dark?
Yes, that was extraordinary.
It was great, wasn't it? I did think they should do this more often.
Yeah. Rory's hook shot on the 16th that was something, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's amazing.
But he played the 18th like an arse.
Do you play? I know. Well, that was extraordinary, wasn't it? He went in the water as did John Ram.
He's so watchable, isn't he?
He's the best.
The Ryder Cup is going to make our hearts just jump out of our throats. Well, it's almost unwatchable. It's so tense.
They're already in that mood, aren't they?
They are.
And also because it's in New York. I was saying this yesterday. Because in New York, it's actually more telly-friendly for us than the Americans.
It is
because it's prime time
in the evenings.
Yeah,
exactly.
8 till 10.
Yeah.
Do you play?
I used to go up in the summers with friends, and we'd sort of rent a house in the Highlands and play every day on different courses. I mean, just ordinary municipal courses one day, and it's such good fun.
You any good?
There was a time when I got a bit better, but I was never good. But it's a kindly game in that I still remember the good shots I played.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
just
remember
need the
the
one
bad
to keep
ones.
you coming back. I love it. I'm going to treat myself, I think, this year, maybe next year, for my 60th to a set. I've never been measured for a set of golf clubs.
Oh, you should,
and I would love that. It's the grips I would look forward to most, getting the right thickness of grip, because sometimes when you borrow somebody else's clubs, and you should change your grips every year because they get worn down, like tyres. But also, if they're a bit thicker, they just feel, I don't know, it feels like something else. It's a feeling I'm not used to.
If you're turning off because golf isn't your thing, we're about to change the subject.
Don't care. No, don't care. Let's go. I think we should go dive deeper into golf. I was going to ask you about sport generally.
Yeah.
Because I know you love watching sport, don't you? What are you naturally if you were in the Olympics for anything, right? What are you naturally most good at? Table tennis.
No,
Badminton.
hopeless.
Badminton
better.
Tennis,
no good at all.
bowling.
Bowling as in crown green and green
Either.
bowling,
You take
indoor
your pick.
bowling. Yeah, I'm not bad at that. It was a time when I played a bit of that. Darts, okay, until I concentrate, and then it all goes wrong.
goes
But
out
if
the
I'm
window.
relaxed, I'm really quite good.
Okay,
And then,
what about pool, snooker?
Yeah, no, I mean, I can I know how to cue more than someone who's never picked up a cue, but these are all such difficult games to play
Frisbee?
well. Frisbee, no. Though I have a cousin who's an Olympic frisbeer. And she came over, she's American, she came over to England and
Do you really?
Yeah, I really, really do.
Are you sure? Have you been over rehearsing a little bit?
I promise it's true. And they have frisbee golf, oddly enough,
Right.
where you start at a sort of equivalent
you
of a
brought it back
tee.
to golf. You said
and you hurl it as far as you possibly can, which is like the drive, as it were, and then it lands in a sort of freewayish place, and then you've got to judge a slightly less than full fling to get it onto the greenish area, or at least close enough to the greenish area, and there's a pole with a sort of net which catches it, and that's the hole,
I like
that's the
that.
pin. It's quite clever.
Play
And
foot
she was
golf
very
as well.
good at that.
You
Sorry?
can play foot golf.
Oh, yes, you can.
With a football,
can't you?
that's
Yeah.
good fun.
Yeah.
Right, we've got to talk about Traitors, apparently. I'm the only person in the world that's not seen it. Not because I've got
What, it
anything
hasn't been out
against
yet? Oh,
Traitors.
you mean you've never seen the series at all?
I've never seen it.
No.
I love Claudia. I love a bit of Wink Murder,
Yes.
the mafia game.
Yeah, well, then you sort of know something
Yes,
about how
of
it
course,
how
because it all
works.
comes from that. Apparently, you're in the celebrity version.
I am.
Right, do
yeah.
you win?
Do you think I'm going to tell
Yes,
you?
I do. I think I've caught you at a vulnerable moment. Yeah, it's the last day of rehearsals before you move to the theatre.
Good try.
We talked
I'm not
about
allowed
golf.
to- I'm
You've made up
almost
this
not
story
allowed
about
to-
your cousin in American Olympic frisbee stuff. I think you're in the mood to fess it all up.
I can say some of the people who were in it with me. I can say that it was in the same castle in Scotland that Claudia usually inhabits for what I rather rudely called the Muggles series. And it's you know, I don't mean this in a nasty way, but I always swore to my agent and to myself and others that I would never do anything that you might call reality TV, really, because I just, not because I disdain it or look down upon it, but just I would hate myself in it. But I happened to catch, I didn't watch the first series of Traitors, I happened to catch the second and was overwhelmed by how extraordinarily good a game it is. And I just thought, this is so revealing of so much about how humans think and what they believe and what they think they know and what, you know, all our fallacies and failures. And I was really interested in it. And about a week later, my agent rang up and asked and said they were doing this version. Would I be interested?
Well,
and I found
fantastic.
I heard myself saying yes.
Yes. What was that mean? It's a fantastic lineup, and that speaks to, I think, to the game itself, to the popularity of it, but also to Claudia.
Yes,
and that's
we
why,
love
because
Claudia.
people just want to be, they want to be hosted by Claudia.
She is something. Yeah.
She's as good as it gets. I know that Gary Lineker won the award on Wednesday for the NTAs for Best Presenter, and Steck won it. But, you know, we all know that Claudia should be winning it it all the time. She wouldn't deign to turn up or take it, or she's the only person who doesn't think she's any good at it, which is probably why she is.
And she's most interesting to see what she was wearing as well, because she's a fabulously stylish person.
Yeah, she's cool.
Amazing.
She's cool. She's clever.
And she's smart, very
she's
smart.
Super smart, which is the sexiest thing in the world.
And very hardworking, my goodness.
Yeah. Alan Carr, Kat Burns, Celia Imrie, Charlotte Church, Claire Balding. Loads of people, including your good self.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a wonderful bunch of people. We all bonded.
Jonathan Ross, Joe Wilkinson, Paloma Faith. Yeah, Tom Daly, as you say. All great. Okay. You and your acting, right? Stephen Fry and his acting. So he's coming on, he's chancing his arm again. Maybe this one will go all right. Because you're Stephen Fry, but of course you are an actor. That's what you are.
So I started, yes.
You started as an actor.
Or as a comic actor or a comic sort
You've
of
almost
person,
outgrown the actor you, haven't you?
I know. Do you know, one of the things is when... years ago, at the turn of the century, really, John Lloyd, the producer, asked me if I would be involved in this program he was planning, which was called QI, and I said no, I don't think maybe I'd be a guest on it. And then he said okay, and then he called me a week later and said, we cannot get anyone to host it. Can you, for the pilot, host it?
Oh, that old trick.
So I said, well, all right, for the pilot, as long as it's understood that and I hosted it for the pilot, and the BBC then commissioned it, but I then discovered they commissioned it on the basis of me being the host. So I won't say I was trapped into doing it, because I love John Lloyd and I love Alan Davis, and I thought it was a really interesting kind of format and so on. But I was aware, and I sort of said to my diary and wrote to myself, I reveal so much of my personality now, such as it is. I mean, a version of it. We all wear masks, as we know, and just as much every day when you're on this show. It's not exactly, 100%. But it does mean that if you were to appear in a movie, people go, that's Chris Evans, And yes, when Tom Cruise is in a movie, they go, it's Tom Cruise, but they know Tom Cruise plays parts in movies. Whereas the more I was Stephen Fry, rather than, Stephen Fry's in this film, he's in this sitcom, he's in this drama, the more I was popping up, expatiating on the state of the world and saying things and, being schoolmasterly and all the other terrible qualities I have, the more it somehow is inimical to the chances of my becoming a truly serious and great actor, if you like. But that's fine, because, I know a lot of truly great and serious actors, and I know I don't hold a candle to them. I've been on stage with Ken Branagh and Mark Rylance and Emma Thompson, and I really know what the difference. But I do enjoy playing the right sort of part for me. I love playing Oscar Wilde in the film when I did that, and I like I really enjoy playing parts here and there, and I would hate never to be able to do it. So I think something like Lady Bracknell in The Importance of Being Earnest does suit me. At least I hope people will agree it does, and that I can, not be Stephen Fry in it, but become Lady Bracknell, or a Lady Bracknell. There's been a history of them for 120 odd years. So, I try and convince myself I have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, no, well, I'm sure you absolutely do, and you're tripping the light fantastic. You're riding the rainbow, as we've been saying this week, which is a lovely phrase.
Not to taste the rainbow.
No, of course,
that's different. Do you remember that?
No, yes, and not for a second.
How could you not?
However, having said that, you talk about Mark Rylance, Emma Thompson, Kenneth Branagh, and you say they are different. They're on a different level to you. You said that, not me. I might disagree. I'm not qualified to disagree, but I have my own opinion. What do they have that you don't? Do they share anything between themselves? And also, what is the best tip you've been given? Because I heard an amazing tip this week between two world-class actors. One said to the other, when you're playing an emotion, of course, when people are sad in real life, they're trying not to cry.
Absolutely right.
And so you can't just, how do I cry? It's how do I come across as trying not to cry whilst crying? Absolutely
right. Well, there are two questions. The first is what separates those extraordinary people. And I would say also of my friend Hugh Laurie, the same is true. And it's partly what I have relinquished, given up, is they have mystique. You don't really know them. Mark Rylance, who is he really? Of course he gives interviews. You almost cannot get away, whoever you are now, without having to give interviews when you're publicising things. But no one really knows who he is. No one knows Ken Branagh in the way that friends of him know him. And no one knows Emma Thompson particularly. She occasionally supports him as an activist in this area or that. But nonetheless, there is a mystique. And that's a wonderful thing, and it's true of film stars. I mean, look at Clint, Tom Cruise, they've got mystique as well. You don't really know what they're like. If you imagine them being in a room with them, you're not sure. Whereas most people think, I know Stephen Fry, I know exactly what he'll be like, So there's that side of things. And yes, I remember one of the best notes I had. I was in a play, The Common Pursuit, years and years ago, with Rick Mayall and John Gordon Sinclair and John Sessions. And John Sessions, the late lamented, as of course Rick Mayall is. Just hard to believe these people aren't still with us. But John Sessions had to play a character who has to tell his friend that he's sterile. He'd gone to see the doctor, and he and his wife hadn't been able to have children. And it was him; he was sterile, and also adds that he's impotent. And he's doing the scene where he's telling his friend that he's sterile and he's impotent, and. Simon Gray hopped up, who was directing it, who wrote the play, and he said, no, this is a really important line to me, because as a matter of fact, I'm sterile and I'm impotent as well. And we all went, oh, Christ. And like that, he said, no, I'm not. But that's how you tell friends you are.
Oh, that was very good.
And we believed him.
Oh, my
because
God.
He wasn't going, I'm sterile. Yeah. I'm impotent.
Sterile.
No.
I am sterile.
He just said, with a smile on his face, because, and a shrug, I'm sterile and I'm impotent too.
Yeah.
And you think, crikey, that is how people... And the other great comic one was Lynn Fontaine and her husband, Alfred Lunt. He was a sort of big Broadway star in the 30s, and he was in a play where he's playing with his wife. A play sounds a bit like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. This married couple are having a furious row, and there's this young person who's sort of in their house and is incredibly embarrassed. And at one point he asks for a cup of tea. And a few days after the first night, Alfred Lunt sees this young man moodily kicking the fly lines, looking very unhappy. He says, my dear fellow, what is wrong with you? And he said, well, gee, Mr. Lunt, he said, on the first night when I asked for the cup of tea, I got this terrific laugh, but I haven't had it on subsequent nights. No one laughs anymore. Am I doing it wrong? Or was it because the first night my folks were in and there were friends in the audience? And, what? So, my dear fellow, it's readily susceptible of an explanation. On the first night, you asked for a cup of tea. On subsequent nights, you've asked for a laugh.
Yes! Oh, my gosh!
Isn't that good?
Yeah, it's great. It's painful, but it's good.
Yeah.
You remember pain.
Yes, you do.
Oh, my gosh.
You do.
So you're happy in the theatre. You're looking forward to the theatre, the Noel Coward Theatre. Everybody's looking forward to this. What a great thing to go and see over the holidays. And let's face it, Christmas starts next Thursday. Ernest on stage from Thursday, 18th of September 2025, 10th of Jan 2026 is the run. Stephen's in it with loads of his friends. They're all super talented, and we couldn't be more grateful for you coming in.
Thank you, Chris. It's
Let's hear it for Stephen Fry. So Stephen Fry! All right. You're the best, Stephen.
You're so
you are
sweet.
the best.